Will the clerk please call the roll?
Senators Bridges, Buckner, Coleman, Cook, Coram, Danielson,
Excused.
Fields,
Here.
Gardner, Janal, Gonzalez, Hanson, Henriksen, Heisey, Holbert,
It's Friday and there's 68 days left in the session.
Jaquez Lewis,
Good morning.
Kirkmeyer, Colker, Lee, Liston, Lundeen, Moreno, Pedersen,
Here.
Priola, Rankin, Rodriguez, Scott,
Here.
Simpson, Smallwood, Sonnenberg, Story.
Here.
Winter. Woodward. Zenzinger. President Fenberg.
Excused.
Madam President.
Here. With the morning roll call is 33 present, 0 absent, 2 excused, and we have a quorum. Will the good senator from Douglas County please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Thank you, Madam President. Members, guests, and staff, would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the journal? Senator Hawkins Lewis.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the Journal of Thursday, March 3rd, 2022 be accepted and approved by the Secretary.
Oh, you've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and that motion is adopted. Senate Services.
Correctly printed, Senate Bill 145, correctly revised, House Bill 1035 and 1041, correctly enrolled, Senate Bill 37.
Committee reports.
March 3rd, 2022, Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following: Senate Bill 131 be postponed indefinitely. March 3rd, 2022, Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following: Senate Bill 114 be amended as follows, and as so amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation. March 3rd, 2022, the Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Member of the Colorado Agricultural Development Authority, effective July 1st, 2021, for a term expiring June 30th, 2025. Hannah Wilkes of Arvada, Colorado, Democrat, to serve as a member with knowledge of agricultural activity in the state and who shall represent the various agricultural operations in geographical regions of the state. Reappointed March 3rd, 2022. Committee on Judiciary. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following: Senate Bill 103 be amended as follows, and as so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. March 3rd, 2022, Committee on Judiciary. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following: Senate Bill 122 be postponed indefinitely. March 3rd, 2022, the Committee on Judiciary has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar. Confirmed members of the Colorado Commission on Judicial Discipline, effective July 1st, 2021, for a term expiring June 30th, 2025. James Carpenter of Englewood, Colorado, to serve as a non-attorney. Reappointed Mindy Suter of Boulder, Colorado, to serve as an attorney. Appointed March 3rd, 2022. Committee on Judiciary. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following: Senate Bill 89 be postponed indefinitely.
Introduction of bills.
House Bill 1022, Representative Robertson Esgar, Senators Woodward, concerning modifications to the administration of the Colorado State Fair and Industrial Exposition.
Agricultural and Natural Resources.
House Bill 1162, Representative Exum and Van Winkle, Senators Zenzinger and Heisey, concerning authorization to use digital number plates in lieu of metal number plates on a vehicle.
Transportation and Energy.
House Bill 1099, Representatives Carver and Roberts, Senators Woodward and Zenzinger, concerning mandatory disclosures of third-party sellers. Oh, sorry.
All right, we just introduced those two bills this morning. Third reading of bills, final passage, consent calendar. Will the clerk please read the title to the bill on the consent calendar?
House Bill 1071, Representative Woodward, Senator Rodriguez, concerning available relief for plaintiffs who prevail in a class action under the Colorado Consumer Protection Act. Yes, thank you. Sorry. I'm so sorry, I got him out.
Correction, we are going to get the third reading of bills, final passage, consent calendar.
House Bill 1035, Representatives Young and Bradfield, Senators Janal and Rankin, concerning modernization of the Older Coloradans Act.
Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the passage of the one bill on the third reading of bills consent calendar, which includes House Bill 1035.
Is there any discussion on House Bill 1035? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of House Bill 1035, the third reading of bills consent calendar. Are there any no votes? Minority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Madam President. Being an older Coloradan myself, I respectfully ask to be recorded as a no vote on 1035.
17C, no. Holbert will be recorded as a no vote on 1035. Senator Priola. Senator Lundin.
Thank you, Madam President Pro Tem.
That's fair.
I request to be recorded as a no vote on 1035, House 1035.
Senator Lundin will be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1035. Senator Sonnenberg.
Thank you, Madam President. I ask to be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1035.
Senator Sonnenberg will be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1035. Any further no votes? Clerk, please correct the record. Senator Priola will be recorded as a yes vote on House Bill 1035. That was my mistake. No, it's good. You're fine. I just... With a vote of 29 ayes, 3 noes, 0 absent, and 3 excused, House Bill 1035 is passed. Co-sponsors. On House Bill 1035, Senators Lee, Winter, Buckner, Gonzalez, Kolker, Zenzinger, Coram, Woodward, Hawkes Lewis, Pedersen, Story. Got you, Senator Priola and Senator Smallwood. Third reading of bills, final passage. Will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1041?
House Bill 1041, Representative Basenaker and Larson, Senator Janal, concerning restrictions on making public the personal information of protected persons at risk of threats.
Senator Janal.
Thank you, Madam President. I move House Bill 1041, third reading and final passage, and ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of House Bill 1041. Are there any no votes? Senators Lundin, Minority Leader Holbert, Sonnenberg, Cook, Woodward, Smallwood, Rankin, Senator Coram, no vote? Senator Coram is not a no vote, and Senator Gardner. Senator Scott will be added as a no vote. With a vote of 23 ayes, 9 noes, 0 absent, and 3 excused, House Bill 1041 is passed. Co-sponsors on House Bill 1041, Senators Lee, Buckner, Heinrichsen, Kolker, Story, Bridges, Winter. Senator Fields will be added as a co-sponsor. Majority Leader Holbert. Moreno. Wow, I'm struggling this morning.
Yes, Madam President?
Senator Winter, you wanted to be a co-sponsor? And Moreno?
So I just want to clarify, was I added as a co-sponsor?
All good. All right, second reading of Bill's consent calendar. Senator Lee.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general order, second reading of bills, consent calendar.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. That motion is adopted, and the Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of general orders, second reading of Bill's consent calendar, and Senator Lee will take the chair.
The committee will come to order and the court rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the title of all bills on the general order, second reading of bills, consent calendar?
House Bill 1097, Representative Valdez D., Senator Simpson, concerning the authority of a Board of County Commissioners to file an application for dissolution of a special district with the special district's Board of Directors and in connection therewith allowing a Board of County Commissioners to consent to dissolution by court order without an election of a special district with no outstanding financial obligations or debt.
Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for the passage of all the bills on the general order, second reading of bills consent calendar, which solely includes House Bill 1097.
Is there any discussion on any of the bills on the consent calendar? The motion before the body is the adoption of all the bills on the general order, second reading of bills consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. No. The ayes have it, and the bills are adopted. Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion is for the committee to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. The committee will rise and report.
You did it, team. The Senate will come to order. Senator Lee.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee has had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
Madam President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report it has had under consideration the following attached bills being the second reading thereof and makes the following recommendations thereon. House Bill 1097 passed on second reading or revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Lee.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the report.
The motion is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 2 excused, that Committee of the Whole report is adopted. House Bill 1097 passed on second reading in order to revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. General orders, second reading of bills. Senator Lee.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of general orders, second reading of bills.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and that motion is adopted. The Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of general orders, second reading of bills, and Senator Lee will take the chair.
Whatever you want to do. We didn't do a committee. We never changes. No report. Sounds good.
I was so frustrated by that committee. I mean, I sat there arguing with an idiot, which was my first problem.
The committee will come to order and the coat rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the... Pardon? It's on. I wasn't close enough. Will the clerk please read the bill titled to Bill 1101?
House Bill 1101, Representatives McLaughlin and Catlin, Senators Sonnenberg and Zenzinger, concerning the expansion of a program that allows a Public Employees Retirement Association service retiree to work full-time without any reduction in the service retiree's retirement benefits for a rural school district that has a critical shortage of qualified individuals with specific experience, skills, or qualifications that the service retiree has.
Senator Sonnenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move House Bill 1101.
There are no committee reports to the bill. Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, this bill continues a program that was scheduled to repeal on July 1st of 2023. What the program does is it allows a service retiree to return to work in the district full-time without any reduction in their para benefits if that work was specifically for a rural school district that is experiencing a critical shortage of teachers, food service cooks, and school bus drivers. The bill makes permanent and also expands the current program to add school nurses and paraprofessionals, but only those who retired with para benefits to work, as well as without incurring the reduction in benefits. The bill prohibits retirees who retire before their full retirement age from returning to that same district to fill these positions until 2 years after they have retired from the district. It also limits the time frame that a retiree can work to 6 consecutive years. The bill does require payment into para for the retiree. It prohibits the benefit calculation for service credit or for any increase in the highest average salary, and it prohibits any health care premium subsidy for that retiree. Finally, the bill continues the requirement to submit a report to the finance committees of each chamber, and with that, I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on the bill? Senator Priola.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, we heard House Bill 1101 in Senate Ed, I believe it was a week or so ago, and it brought up some memories of the first time this bill came through when it wasn't being made permanent as this bill is. As many of you know, my time down here, I've fought to try to ensure that para is fully funded, and that a couple years ago we had to run Senate Bill 200 to mitigate some of the poor decisions that were made by the legislature in the prior 2 to 3 decades because it was affecting the credit rating of the state of Colorado. If you look at the fiscal note on 1101, it makes the clear case, and it was also pointed out by testimony from para in Education Committee, it makes the clear case that House Bill 1101, and I think their assumptions are kind of generous because it only talks about accelerating retirement by 1 year for 150 people, being around $27 million. So that is $27 million that this policy change will make the unfunded liability in para worse. It will degrade the solvency of the para fund, and if you understand the inner workings of how Senate Bill 200 was implemented, it will shift the burden to current retirees. You asked Senator Priola, how will that happen? Well, under Senate Bill 200, the COLA will adjust, the benefits will adjust for current retirees. It will also shift the burden to other teachers currently working, because their contribution will ratchet up or ratchet down based on the funded portion or the unfunded liability, the ratio which it is going forward. So given that this bill actually sweetens the pot and opens it up to more than just teachers, I suspect that this number will start to exponentially grow. So, and in testimony, it was pointed out that there are other departments such as CDOT that are struggling to find employees, both urban and rural, and that this sets a dangerous precedent were someone to bring a bill that allowed CDOT employees that live in rural parts of the state to retire and then come back and double dip and work maybe in another region of the state, but another rural region of the state. What that would continue to do to erode not only the unfunded liability and make it worse for the state of Colorado, the taxpayers of the state of Colorado, the credit rating of the state of Colorado, those current employees paying into the fund, and subtly shift that liability and to those folks, the other folks, and benefit rural Colorado. Keep in mind, if you understand the school finance formula, already rural schools get paid more than twice what the average suburban inner city school in many cases get for per pupil compensation. It's roughly over $20,000 per student. If you go back a number of years, they were very smart. A lot of the rural schools were very smart in that they split up school districts because they understood that that would game the school finance system and they could draw down relatively more money compared to some of the larger urban school districts. I ran a bill a number of years ago that would allow some of these very small school districts, of which some of them only have 5 students, and consolidation would save them a lot of overhead, would save them a lot of money, but they won't do it because they understand how to manipulate and use the school finance formula to benefit them where it comes to the state backfill. In this bill 1101, they are also doing that. They're using the Paratrust Fund to try to get more revenue to the rural parts of the state. And that is why I'm opposing the bill. I opposed it in committee, and I even have an amendment here that I'd like to run on it and I will speak to. I think rural parts of our state need to look at the structural problems of why their young people move away and don't relish the opportunity to come back and teach or farm in the rural parts of the state. What are the underlying parts of that? Maybe we should study that. I would support a bill that set aside $200 million exclusively to fund attracting young teachers that will maybe teach in a rural district for 30 or 40 years, not just for another 5 or 6 as this bill does. The teachers that will be qualifying for this bill are also qualifying at a higher pay rate than a younger teacher that would enter into the teaching profession. So this bill is bad on a number of levels. It frustrates me that once again as a legislature, I have no doubt this bill will pass, but on a number of levels, this legislature is once again going to put the hands in the cookie jar, break open the piggy bank, and tap para to pay for K-12 and educators in a specific subset of the state in a year when we have lots of federal money, when we're going to probably hit the Tabor cap and issue refunds. We're once again putting the state in a precarious situation where our credit rating might be called into question again, which will cost us even more money when it comes time to borrow for COPs and so on and so forth. Members, this is a really bad policy. This is a really bad policy for a number of reasons, and a bad precedent in what it does going forward. So with that, I would like to move L003 to House Bill 1101, and I will ask that it be read at length. It's short.
There is an amendment on the desk. Will the clerk please read Amendment 003?
After.
Amendment L003 by Senator Priola, amend re-engross bill, page 2, strike line 4, and substitute 1.9, subparagraph I, subparagraph double I, and 1.9J as follows. Page 4, line 24, strike 2023, and substitute 2023 in order to protect the balance of the fund and ensure that the ability of the association to pay the full amount of the benefit owed to all current and future retirees is not impaired if an employer hires a retiree who is receiving a benefit for the retiree's service to a different employer. The employer shall, on a monthly basis for the duration of the retiree's employment with the employer's pay to the association an amount equal to the amount of the monthly benefit received by the retiree for the retiree's service to a different employer. The association shall credit the full amount of any such payment received to the first trust fund of the fund from which the retiree's benefit is being paid.
Senator Priola.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, I move L003. Members, what this amendment says is fine. Go ahead, move to another district, get hired by that district, but that district must reimburse the para-trust fund for the full amount of the retirement that's being taken out of it to keep the fund as solvent as possible under the rules of the game of Senate Bill 200 of some prior years. I think this is a very fair amendment. It fits the spirit of the legislation. I would even support the bill if this was put into place, because what it would mean is it's true local control. The local school districts are stepping up and paying their way. They're not shifting the burden to our urban and suburban school districts once again, and they're struggling too to find educators. Private schools are struggling to find educators. CDOT's struggling to find employees. Many of the businesses up and down Main Street all over the state are struggling to find employees. This is not unique to K-12 and education, but this bill specifically benefits a narrow group of folks in rural Colorado, and I think it's unfair to the entire state for a number of reasons. But this amendment, I think, brings it back to a fair place. It accomplishes what the sponsors want in attracting people to stay a little bit longer, to fill those gaps. I think in a sense it's a fool's errand, because what they should be trying to do is spend money to attract young talent that wants to stay in these rural areas and raise a family and put down roots and compensate them more than the entry pay scale in most of these districts. But that is for another debate. So with that, I would ask for an aye vote on L003.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I would respectfully ask for a no on this amendment. To the speaker's points, if the speaker from Brighton would like to run a bill about CDOT, then he's welcome to. If the speaker would like to run a bill about any other governmental function, he's welcome to do so. But we're debating this bill. And for this bill, I say no to this amendment.
Senator Sonnenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me just basically explain how this is going to work. And then I will go back on why Para thinks that this is a bad idea. Essentially what happens is you have a teacher that has done their term, their time, and has acquired the amount of time they need to retire. And then we have school districts like rural Colorado, like where I live, and let me be clear, the statement said about rural schools being paid more than urban schools is absolutely wrong. There are some that are. As you know, school finance has a J-curve. Sterling High School, the school I graduated from and may explain my education, is at the bottom of that J-curve. Cherry Creek, Jeffco schools get more than Sterling High School. With that said, they have trouble attracting teachers. We have trouble all across the state attracting teachers. So what happens is you have a retiree that comes into the school after being begged to come out of retirement and help out. For example, in Carville, they have a music teacher that's now doing the lunch lady duties as well. That's neither here nor there, but just an example. They come in, They're still collecting their retirement, as they should, but they're paying back into para with their new salary, with their new money that they are making from teaching and filling in and helping out. They're paying in with no opportunity to recapture any of that. So the 20% or whatever that number is now that's being paid in by the school, the 8% or whatever it's being paid now by the teacher goes into the pot. So let's look at why para thinks this is damaging. They think that people will retire early and collect less retirement by retiring early just so they can do this program. Would you do that? Would you quit working before your retirement age just so you could work less retirement, continue to work for less salary typically, maybe even the same, but with the deductions coming out that you're not going to be getting put in your program? The answer is no. You don't need this amendment. Para is screaming fire, and as we learned in Senate Bill 200 5 years ago, the fiscal note was very clear and was redone that there was actually very little impact to para for that exact reason that I shared with you. Ask for a no vote on the amendment.
Senator Priola.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And members, just to rebut that rebuttal, this bill, as it's currently drafted, cost shifts to others in the teaching profession, even if it's relatively de minimis. A young teacher teaching in Jeffco will take more out of their paycheck at the margin if it ratchets up or because of the unfunded liability being worse than was projected because of this and other policy changes that are on the calendar. That's why I oppose this, because they're retiring and they're taking out, to round numbers, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year. And yeah, they're technically going to be paying in a small portion of their paycheck, but the delta between the two is night and day. And that's why para said, yeah, it's going to probably cost us about $27 million, and which I think is maybe a little generous on the assumption. There's nothing that currently precludes someone from continuing to work past the ratio, the rule of 80, and work in the same school instead of having to move to another district. The difference is they won't be subsidized by being able to get paid their retirement, which in many cases at that age is their full salary. So if this bill passes, the folks who take advantage of it in rural Colorado will be getting the equivalent of their full salary plus an additional full salary on top of it for up to 6 years. Some would call that double dipping. And that's why para is against it, because they see the danger of going down this road. I would never run a bill for CDOT that did the same thing, because it would erode the para trust fund. It would threaten, once again, the credit rating of the great state of Colorado. And the costs to the taxpayers, the current retirees that depend on para, and the soon-to-be retirees that don't live in rural Colorado are too much for me to stomach. And that's why I took the time today to run an amendment and to have a conversation about this policy change, this permanent policy change now. This bill, when it passed through a number of years ago, I voted against, and it was, up until today, it was one of my least favorite bills that have passed through here. I think this one now takes a cake. So again, members, I ask for an aye vote on L003, and thank you for listening.
Senator Sonnenberg, did you want to speak on this? Okay. Is there any further discussion on Amendment 003? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Noes? No. The noes appear to have it. The amendment is lost. Are there any further amendments? Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is not double dipping, because I think you forget that the retired educator who's coming back to teach is teaching. So there was going to be a teacher doing that job anyway, regardless. It just happens to be a retired educator that is not receiving any benefit from being called out of retirement to fill this job. Nothing. They're not getting an accrual. They're not getting any benefit. They're not. In fact, there were a whole host of guardrails that were placed on this bill. So, for example, a service-reduced benefit retiree cannot return to work in the district until 2 years after their retirement. So who's going to honestly do that? Who's going to like game the system by like thinking, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave my career early, retire early at the lowest part of my salary just so that I can come back 2 years from now and teach. Oh my God. Nobody wants to do this. We are being forced to do this because we don't have a teacher in the classroom. Our kids don't have a teacher, okay? So it's not about gaming the system. This is hopefully a temporary solution so that every classroom can have a teacher, all right? Secondly, a service retiree cannot work for any employer during the effective month of retirement. Third, the district is still required to make employer contributions. So they're still putting into the system. And the retirees are still required to pay the working retiree contributions. So they're still putting into the system. Now, although a retiree is eligible to participate in the district's health care plan, guess what? One of the guardrails that we put into this program is that no subsidy will be applied towards the payment of Paracare premiums. Literally, they are doing this because we have to. Out of the goodness of their hearts, they are going back into the system. And you know what else they are doing? We're preventing opportunity costs, because we're not just like bringing in some person off the street to fill this position. We are bringing somebody who has years of experience, that already knows how the district operates, that already knows how to make their way to the copier machine, right? In addition, this bill prohibits the calculation for service credit for any increase in the highest average salary. And for me, that's really the kicker, is that this service that they are coming back and doing is not even going to count towards their para. The bill still requires that we send a report to the Finance Committee of both chambers every 5 years so that we can make sure that if there happen to be any problems, we will take care of it at that time. But we have done a look back, and I will tell you a couple of things about that actuarial report that PARA did. Number one, we believe that the numbers are really overestimated and do not reflect a one-to-one comparison. Number two, the reason why we think that it is overestimated is because it does not appear that the actuarial study actually took into account those guardrails that I just listed for you. So the fear of employees wanting to retire early to take advantage of this program is widely overblown. Now, I understand that it has an impact. Everything we do down here has an impact. But the impact is negligible to the overall para system, and it's critical to our rural schools who need this. So, we are faced with tough decisions every day, and we have to weigh the costs, and we have to weigh the benefits of competing priorities, and I get that. And of course, I happen to be a para employee, not just because of my role down here at the legislature, because I happen to be a teacher. So, I am invested in the future liability of para because I want to retire someday. But this policy that is before you today strikes the right balance. It is a good balance. It limits the harm to our critical retirement benefits. It ensures that our rural school districts have the tools that they need to educate future generations. And I'm quite offended that anybody would come to this podium and say that this is the worst bill that they have ever seen. That statement is offensive. It tells me that some people don't actually understand the problem. So you want to know what the problem is? I'll tell you what the problem is. All over this state, our schools are experiencing critical, extreme labor shortages. But you know who's experiencing it the worst? Our rural school districts, our little, small school districts that are hanging on by a thread. And during COVID, we wanted our children to be in those classrooms receiving their education. But how is that going to happen if we don't have an educator? How's it going to happen if we don't have a teacher to teach that? Our rural schools last year experienced a 17.8, so we could round up and say 18% turnover, with positions that they never filled. If we could have filled these positions with substitutes, we would have done it. But they couldn't. They didn't fill them. And then you know what happens? You end up combining classrooms. So you have overcrowded classrooms. They don't offer AP chemistry because they don't have someone who can teach AP chemistry. So we have students that are not earning concurrent enrollment to bring down the cost of their post-secondary education. We have to close or shut down music programs because we don't have a music educator. And in our really small schools, those schools with less than 1,000 students, they experienced an 18.1% turnover last year. Now, the cost of living in some of these rural areas in the state, particularly in our mountain area, resort areas, further exacerbates this problem of retaining and recruiting critical staff for our school districts. And per the guidelines of this bill, it only applies to those rural school districts that are experiencing literally, the quote that is in the bill, critical shortages. So what does that mean? Critical shortages. That means that schools shut down. We eliminate grade levels. We don't offer courses. That's what critical means. Of the school districts that participated in this program in the last 5 years, the most prevalent hire in those critical shortage areas was obviously teachers. But I will note that we did expand this bill to bus drivers. It's kind of a good thing that we get the kids to school, right? Food service workers, and paras. Now, I don't know about you, but bus drivers, paras, and food service workers are not making $50,000. They're not making $40,000. They're not even making $30,000. So, to assume that lunch ladies are bringing down the para system is woefully wrong, inaccurate, and overblown. I ask for an aye vote.
Senator Lundin.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I rise to give a PSP. That's kind of like a PSA, public service announcement. This is a public service perspective. This is kind of a canary in the coal mine announcement. The reality is about a quarter of the operating budgets of all of our school districts go to para at this point. That's a challenging circumstance. You could call it the General Motors crisis. You remember back a few years ago when General Motors, it cost $8,000 per car that they were selling off the assembly line just to pay for the people that once upon a time had worked for General Motors. General Motors went through a reorg and solved their financial problems. I support 1101. We have a crisis getting teachers into the rural classrooms. That's incredibly important, but we have a bigger problem in attracting great teachers into our classrooms because quite frankly, we're doing so many things with the policy elements and the districts are making so many judgments where they're putting money into administration and not into teacher paychecks. We need to be doing more to put money into teacher paychecks. So I rise in support of 1101 and offer the canary in the coal mine warning that in fact para is consuming too much of our operating budget at the district level. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Is there any further discussion? Senator Priola.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And let me first state, I'm not meant to impugn the motives of the sponsors. I know that they are doing in their heart what is best for their district, for their rural schools, and that's the point. This affects my schools that are not classified as rural. 27J is at the bottom of the J curve. At the bottom of the J curve. They don't get the extra money for being they don't have the large factor for DPS, and they don't have the rural factor for all the 150 some rural districts that have 5 to 15 students. They do a great job, and they get the lowest amount. You can look at it. I've looked at the spreadsheet for years. They get the lowest amount of most per pupil of most school districts in the entire state. 27J, and I forget the district down south of Colorado Springs, get some of the lowest in the state. So one of the sponsors brought up the fact that there are higher costs of living in some of these rural schools, and it dawned on me, so in a sense you could say that this bill is also going to subsidize teachers that live in Vail and Aspen. I just assumed it was for Sterling or Lamar, but I guess technically they would qualify too. So if you're living in Vail and Aspen, you can be quote unquote retired, but still keep teaching, which I'm still trying to get my mind around how you can technically be retired and still do the same profession you did when you weren't retired. But I guess that's another issue for another day. I would fully support creating a fund, drafting a bill to set aside $2 million. I'm sure we could have a creative way of using the ARA money for it, to set aside a fund to attract not only teachers in rural parts of the state that have been teaching for 40 years and are good at their craft, but also the young folks, young talent coming out of education school that want to go back home and start a family and put down roots in rural Colorado for the next 30 and 40 years. To me, that would be a wise way to spend the people's money, is set aside a fund that doesn't affect para, does not affect the credit rating of the great state of Colorado, does not affect the COLA of retirees, does not affect what comes out of the paycheck of teachers in Arapahoe County, in Jefferson County, in Adams County, and all the other counties in the rest of the state. Yes, even the rural counties. I think I've been clear why I find this bill so difficult to accept as a permanent policy change for the state of Colorado. And I can only imagine in the coming years, those who qualify will expand, pry to administrators, and then probably push this 6 years out to 8 or 10. All along, not incentivizing young people to return to the rural parts of the state and become vibrant parts of the community, but to keep the existing folks in charge running the schools in rural parts of the state. I ask for a no vote on 1101.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion before the body is the adoption of House Bill 1101. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. 1101 is passed. Ms. Cole, will you please read the title to House Bill 1057?
House Bill 1057, Representative Bradfield McLaughlin, Senators Woodward and Zenzinger, concerning Public Employees Retirement Association employment after retirement limitations.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1057, and I ask for your aye vote.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of House Bill 1057. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and 1057 is adopted. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1071 lay over until Monday, March 7th.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. 1071 is laid over until Monday's calendar. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion before the body is to rise and report. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Say no. The ayes have it. We will rise and report. Where's Carrie? I need a president. La Presidenta. Yeah, priorities. Oh, Senate District 34? Yeah. Carniceria? Yeah. Small business owners, you know, gotta support them. That's what's up. Yeah.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Gonzalez.
Gracias, Madam President. The committee has met and had a number of bills under consideration. Ms. Cole, will you please read the report?
Madam President, your Committee of the Whole begs leave to report it has had under consideration the following attached bills and being the second reading thereof and makes the following recommendations thereon. House Bill 1101, House Bill 1057 passed on second reading and ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1071 laid over until 3/7/2022 and retaining its place on the calendar.
Senator Gonzalez.
Gracias. I move the report.
The motion is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 2 excused, the Committee of the Whole report is adopted.
Oh. Did you? No, there's not. Did he uncount it? There's no count.
Or the vote. Yeah, because the motion was already going and I read the outcome. It's closed. I think you missed your chance.
If they'll take a senatorial 5, then I'll recognize my guest while we're in recess.
You can amend that.
It is also a third, it's a House bill, so you could run it on thirds.
Why don't you do that?
It's up to you.
But am I going to get permission to run it on Thursday?
Yes.
Yeah.
They get permission. They'll have permission.
Yeah.
The Senate will stand in a brief recess.
I'll run on Thursday.
The Senate will come back to order. I will read the report. Passed on second reading in order revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage, House Bills 1057 and 1101. House Bill 1071 is laid over until 3/7/2022 and retaining its place on the calendar. Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the Senate proceed out of order for a moment of personal privilege from the senator from El Paso County.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Senate will proceed out of order for a moment of personal privilege for Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Request a moment of personal privilege. Madam President, you can find me.
It's Friday. We're all going to give each other grace. Oh, and I get booed.
Madam President.
The moment of personal privilege is granted. Please go ahead, Senator Gardner.
Madam President, Your Excellency.
Fine.
I appreciate everyone's indulgence. We have some special guests here this morning from the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments visiting with us today. They represent 16 member governments from our El Paso, Tiller, and Park counties, the Pikes Peak region, 800,000 people. They are Sharon Thompson, Mayor of Fountain, Stan Vanderwerf, Chair, El Paso County Commissioners, Dave Donaldson from the Colorado Springs City Council, Nancy Hingham from the Springs City Council, Eric Stone, Teller County Commissioner, Andrew Gunning, Executive Director, Robert Zalaga with Woodland Park Council, Jody Barker, Director of Aging, and Roland Dardine, who is the Mayor Pro Tem of Calhan. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Janal? Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the Senate continue to proceed out of order for a moment of personal privilege from the senator from Fort Collins.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Senate will proceed out of the order for a moment of personal privilege. Senator Janal.
Thank you, Madam President, and I request a moment of personal privilege.
Thank you, Senator Janal. Granted.
Thank you, Madam President. This month is Chronic Disease Awareness Month, and this week is Bleeding Disorders Week, and I'd like to recognize those who are living with hemophilia today. You'll see I'm wearing a red tie. Normally I don't wear a red tie, but I am today. There are other people that are wearing red ties in the back of the room. They are guests visiting us today at the Capitol, and please say hello. They have hemophilia, and I'd like to recognize them with this tribute that I will give to them when I finish. The Colorado State Senate commends the Colorado chapter of the National Hemophilia Foundation, known as the NHF Colorado, for its outstanding service to the state in providing support to Coloradoans who live with hemophilia and other bleeding disorders. NHF Colorado works to increase awareness and understanding of bleeding disorders, as this shared knowledge is the first step in making progress towards our better research, treatment, and ultimately care for more than 1,000 Coloradans in our communities who live with bleeding disorders. The NHF Colorado improves the quality of life for bleeding disorders and those in that community by offering programs and services such as medically supervised camp, scholarships, financial assistance, educational programs, and more. Today, the Colorado State Senate pauses to proudly commemorate March as Bleeding Disorders Awareness Month, and today recognizing the Hemophilia Foundation in the state of Colorado for their excellent work and the service that they provide for the NHF in Colorado. Members, please welcome in the back the folks with the red ties who are living with hemophilia each and every day. Thank you, and we will not forget you. Thank you very much.
Committee reports.
March 4, 2022, Committee on Appropriations. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 9 be referred to the Committee for the Whole with favorable recommendation. March 4, 2022, the Committee on Appropriations. After consideration on the amendments, committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 11 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee for the Whole with favorable recommendation, and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. March 4, 2022, Committee on Appropriations. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 32 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee for the Whole with favorable recommendation, and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. March 4, 2022, Committee on Appropriations. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 77 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation, and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. March 4, 2022, Committee on Appropriations. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 113 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. February 8, 2022, Committee on Transportation and Energy. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 9 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation.
Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the Senate take up a special orders calendar consisting of second reading of bills consent calendar, which includes House Bill 1099 and House Bill 1070. Colleagues, you'll find that on page 2 of your printed calendar. Senate Bill 11, Senate Bill 32, and Senate Bill 77. Colleagues, you'll find those on page 6 of your calendar. They were heard in appropriations this morning. At the hour of 10:15 a.m., and Madam President, I would request a brief recess while the calendar is passed out for those special orders.
The motion is that the Senate take up House Bills 1099 and 1070, as well as Senate Bill 11, 32, and 77 at the hour of 10:15. This requires a 2/3 majority. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and that motion is adopted, and the Senate will take up House Bills 1099, 1070, and Senate Bills 11, 32, and 77 on special orders consent at the hour of 10:15. We will take a brief recess so that those calendars can be distributed. The Senate will come back to order. Special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar. Senator Gonzalez.
Gracias, Madam President. I move that the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The motion is adopted and the Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar, and Senator Gonzalez will take the chair.
All right, y'all. The committee will come to order. There will be no relaxing of the coat rule. Let's see, Ms. Cole. Will you please read the title of all of the bills on the special order, second reading of bills, consent calendar?
House Bill 1099, Representatives Carver and Roberts, Senators Woodward and Zenzinger, concerning mandatory disclosures of third-party sellers selling through online marketplaces. House Bill 1070, Representative McCluskey, Senator Rankin, concerning early childhood development service districts and in connection therewith, allowing a district to include in its service area less than all of the territory of an existing taxing district and to accept gifts, grants, and donations. Senate Bill 11, Senators Zenzinger and Coram, Representatives Catlin and Asgar, concerning the establishment of the America 250 Colorado 150 Commission. Senate Bill 32, Bridges and Woodward, Representatives Kipp and Van Winkle, concerning simplification of local sales and use tax compliance and administration for retailers that make retail sales in local taxing jurisdictions where they have limited physical presence. Senate Bill 77, Senators Janal and Woodward, Representatives Larson and Young, concerning the adoption of an interstate compact to allow a person who has a licensed professional counsel in the person's state of residence to practice professional counseling in a compact state in which the person is not licensed.
Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for the adoption of all the bills on the special orders second reading of bills consent calendar and their associated committee reports. This includes House Bill 1099, House Bill 1070, Senate Bill 11, and the associated State Veterans and Military Affairs and Appropriation Committee reports, Senate Bill 32 and the associated Business, Labor, and Technology and Appropriations Committee reports, and Senate Bill 77 and the associated Health and Human Services Committee, Health and Human Services and Appropriations Committee reports.
All right, the motion before the body is the adoption of the committee reports and the associated bills on the special order second reading of bills consent calendar. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Those committee reports and bills are adopted. Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
Motion is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Senator Gardner voted twice. Let the record reflect. The ayes have it, though, and we will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Gonzalez.
Thank Thank you, Madam President. We met and had a number of bills under consideration. Ms. Cole, will you please read the report?
Madam President, your Committee of the Whole begs leave to report it has had under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 11 is amended, Senate Bill 32 is amended, Senate Bill 77 is amended, passed on second reading, ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1099 and House Bill 1070 passed on second reading and ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Gonzalez.
Gracias, Madam President. I move the report.
The motion is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and to excuse, the Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 11 as amended, Senate Bill 32 as amended, Senate Bill 77 as amended, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1099, House Bill 1070 passed on second reading and order revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the Senate take up a special orders second reading of bills calendar, which consists of Senate Bill 113. Colleagues, you will find this on page 6 of your printed calendar. It is also on your special orders printed calendar at the hour of 10:24 a.m.
The motion is that the Senate bill take up Senate Bill 113 on special orders at the hour of 10:24. This requires a 2/3 majority. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and that motion is adopted. The Senate will take up Senate Bill 113 at the hours of 10:24 on special orders. Special orders, second reading of bills. Senator Gonzalez.
Gracias, Madam President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of special orders, second reading of bill.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. That motion is adopted, and the Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of special orders, second reading of bills, and Senator Gonzalez will take the chair.
The committee will come to order, but I still refuse to relax any coat rules. Ms. Cole, will you please read the title of the bill on the special order second reading of bills calendar?
Senate Bill 113, Senators Hansen, concerning the use of personal identifying data and in connection therewith creating a task force for the consideration of artificial intelligence, restricting the use of facial recognition services by state and local government agencies, and temporarily prohibiting the use of facial recognition services by public schools.
Senator Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 113, the Business, Labor, and Technology Committee report.
To the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members had 4 amendments that we offered in three amendments that we offered in Business, Labor, and Technology, including updating some of the task force language, making sure we had a clear definition of the state agency, making sure that Colorado Bureau of Investigation was included in the bill, and made several amendments after stakeholder engagement with the law enforcement community. And so I urge your acceptance of the BLT report.
Any discussion on the BLT committee report? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of the BLT committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and that committee report is adopted. Senator Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the adoption of the appropriation committee report.
To the report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In appropriations this morning, we had one technical amendment that was adopted as an L amendment, which basically clarified the research language in the bill. And we also adopted a very small appropriation to cover the staffing for the task force that will be reviewing facial recognition technology. And I urge your acceptance of the appropriation committee report.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion before the body is the adoption of the Approps report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. That committee report is adopted. To the bill. Senator Hansen.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and very pleased to be joined on this bill by the good senator from Aurora. I just just to quickly let folks know, the bill is really focused on putting some protections in place around the use of facial recognition technology in the public sector. In particular, we know this is needed because there has been demonstrated a very high error rate, especially for people of color, around the use of this technology. I think we've worked out a great set of updated language after the committee work to balance out the needs of law enforcement and other parts of the public sector. And I think this would be a great step forward for Colorado, showing leadership on this issue and making sure that we are very carefully considering how to use this technology without any potential downsides causing problems in the state. And I urge your support for Senate Bill 113.
Any further discussion? Seeing Senator Buckner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is not on this bill, but I really am a Senate sponsor. Humans tend to overtrust automation, and the landscape of artificial-based intelligence is constantly changing. So I really believe that this task force will expertly inform policy on artificial intelligence and facial recognition and protect the residents of Colorado, and particularly the most vulnerable. I'm asking for an aye vote on this bill.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 113. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Thank you for voting once. That bill is adopted. Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
Motion is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and we will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee met and we considered Senate Bill 113. Ms. Cole, will you please read the report?
Madam President, your committee on the whole begs leave to report it has had under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 113 as amended, passed on second reading, and ordered and engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to adopt the report.
The motion is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 2 excused, that Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 113, as amended, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. The following change in bill sponsorship will occur. Senator Buckner will be added as a co-prime sponsor on Senate Bill 113 with Senator Hansen. Consideration of House amendments. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 64?
Senate Bill 64, Senators Zenzinger and Rankin, Representative McKean and Kipp, concerning requirements for neighborhood youth organizations that provide services designed for the development of youth.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Madam President. Well, I've got some bad news. Every so often, the House makes a change that we kind of agree with. So we move to concur with House amendments to Senate Bill 64.
That was an appropriate level of hissing. Is there any discussion? The motion is that the Senate concur with House amendments to Senate Bill 64. Are there any no votes? Senators Lundin, Gardner, Kirkmeyer, Woodward, Cook, Liston, Smallwood, Minority Leader Holbert, Senators Heisey, Sonnenberg, Senator Woodward, I have you. Senator Priola will be recorded as a no vote. With a vote of all right, we're still on the motion to concur with House amendments. With a vote of 22 ayes, 11 noes, 0 absent, and 2 excused, that motion is adopted. Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the repassage of Senate Bill 64. Just as a reminder, this is for neighborhood youth organizations such as Boys and Girls Clubs and et cetera. And I ask for your aye vote.
The motion is the repassage of Senate Bill 64. Are there any no votes on repassage? Minority Leader Holbert, Senators Lundin, Gardner, Cook, Liston, Kirkmeyer, Heisey, Woodward. With a vote of 25 ayes, 8 noes, 0 absent, 2 excused, Senate Bill 64 is repassed. Co-sponsors, and this will be Senator Lundin.
Thank you, Madam President. I ask that my name be removed as a co-sponsor, and let me explain. The bill had some privacy protections in it as it went to the House. There are still robust privacy protections in it as rewritten by the House, but it removes the broader set of protections available in the Student Data Privacy Code. And for that reason, I objected to the amendment that came back from the House and have voted against the bill as it moves out. It is on behalf of an expanded and robust privacy protection that I vote no on the bill at this point. Thank you, Madam President.
Senator Lundin was recorded as a no and will be removed as a co-sponsor. Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Madam President. I ask that my name be removed as a co-sponsor on this bill.
Senator Gardner will be removed as a co-sponsor. Senator Kirkmeyer.
Thank you, Madam President. I ask to have my name removed as a sponsor on 64. Thank you.
Senator Kirkmeyer as a co-sponsor will be removed. Senator Cook.
Thank you, Madam President. I request that my name be removed as a co-sponsor on Senate Bill 64.
Senator Cook will be removed as a co-sponsor. Senator Woodward. Senator Heisey.
Thank you, Madam President. I ask that my name be removed as a co-sponsor on Senate Bill 64.
Senator Heisey will be removed as a co-sponsor on Senate Bill 64. Senator Quorum.
Thank you, Madam President. I would ask to be my name removed as a co-sponsor and that as a no vote.
Senator Quorum is recorded as a no vote and will be removed as a co-sponsor for Senate Bill 64. Senator Woodward.
Thank you, Madam President. I, too, wish to be removed as a co-sponsor to Senate Bill 64 and will be recorded as a no vote.
Senator Woodward will be removed as a co-sponsor on Senate Bill 64. Is there anyone that was previously not on the bill as a co-sponsor who would like to be added? Consideration of governor's appointments, consent calendar. Will the clerk please read all the appointments listed on the consent calendar?
Members of the Board of Commissioners of Veterans Community Living Centers, effective July 2nd, 2021, for terms expiring on July 1st, 2025, Christine Merriman of Delta, Colorado, who has expertise in nursing home operations and who has experience in multi-facility management of nursing homes, appointed. Tiara Nicole Stingley of Denver, Colorado, who has expertise in practical clinical experience in nursing homes, appointed. Member of the Colorado Civil Rights Commission for a term expiring March 13th, 2023, Daniel Ward of Centeno, Colorado, to serve as a majority owner of a small business that employs at least 5 but less than 50 employees and as an unaffiliated occasioned by the resignation of Kendra Anderson of Denver, Colorado, appointed.
Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the adoption of all of the appointments on the Governor's Appointments Consent Calendar, which includes members of the Board of Commissioners of Veterans Community Living Centers and members of the Colorado Civil Rights Commission.
Is there any discussion? The motion is the confirmation of all the appointments on the consent calendar. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 2 excused, all the appointments are confirmed. Will the Senate Oh, I spoiled the surprise. Message from the House.
March 4th, 2022, the House has passed on third reading and transmitted to the reviser of statutes House Bills 1228, 1229, 1257, 1016, and 1208 amended as printed in House Journal March 3rd, 2022. The House has passed on third reading and transmitted to the reviser of statutes House Bill 1237. The House has passed on third reading and returns herewith Senate Bill 91. The House has adopted and returns herewith Senate Joint Resolution 002.
Message from the reviser.
March 4th, 2022, we herewith transmit without comment House Bill 1237 without comment as amended, House Bill 1016, 1208, 1228, 1229, and 1257.
Now will the Senate choir please assemble? Do we not have a Senate choir? Do we have a Senate choir? That's more than our good Senator Gonzalez.
Dude.
Senator Moreno.
Lundeen.
Senator Bridges.
We need Lundeen's baritone.
Yeah.
Senator Lundeen.
I want to be in the choir.
Who's singing to you today?
Ourselves.
Today is, of course, Friday, but tomorrow is the very special day, as it is the birthday of our very own Senator Woodward. Woo! Please join the choir in singing Senator Woodward a very happy birthday. Choir.
I got a meeting.
Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Senator Woodward. Happy birthday to you. Woo!
I hope your 28th birthday is a delightful one, Senator. Announcements. Senator Liston.
Thank you. Madam President, I would like to ask for a moment of personal privilege.
Granted, Senator Liston.
Very good. Madam President and members of the Senate, I'm sure you've seen many of the disturbing news accounts of the pictures of the carnage of what is going on to the good people of Ukraine over the last week. I stand before you today to make an appeal to your senses and generosity to do more to help the great patriots in Ukraine. We have watched for 9 days now as Vladimir Putin and his Russian army have systematically destroying the great cities of Ukraine and killing hundreds, if not thousands, of innocent women and children. We can't stop the aggression and war on the Ukrainian people brought about by the deranged Putin, but we can stand with the people and give them the aid and support that they desperately need. There are several worthwhile and legitimate organizations that are collecting donations to support Ukraine. I hope you will join me by donating to the International Rescue Committee, which is helping people affected by the humanitarian crisis and is collecting donations to help displaced Ukrainian families, or to Project Hope, which is shipping medicine and medical supplies to the impacted areas of Ukraine. Make no mistake about it, 2020 is like 1940 once again. We can watch a mad aggressor and his armies march into a peaceful, sovereign nation like in 1940 and do nothing. Or we can stand with the citizens of Ukraine, but not just pay lip service to their plight, but actively give them material aid and support. To paraphrase the great leader of wartime Britain, Winston Churchill, who said, "Let us therefore brace ourselves to our duties and so bear ourselves that if the United States and the people of Colorado last for 1,000 years, men will still say this was their finest hour." I hope you will think about what is happening not only to the people of Ukraine over the weekend and ask yourselves, if not now, when? If not us, who? Thank you, colleagues, and God bless the people and patriots of Ukraine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Liston. Senator Quorum.
Thank you, Madam President. Having talked to the majority leader and the minority leader, on Monday I have the choice of a root canal or being here. Somehow the root canal seemed to win out, so I would ask to be excused. And I would request a moment of personal privilege.
Senator Quorum will be excused on Monday, and your moment of personal privilege is granted.
Members, I have been passionate about school safety going back to 2019. The good senator from Westminster and I had a bill in 2019 funding that. COVID came along and we lost it. I tried a country boy sneak last year of amending it to a transportation bill, knowing that it didn't fit. But it passed the Senate. It was stripped out in the House. We expected it to. But I wanted to keep it alive. This year we have school safety bills. We have 1243. We have 85. A couple of weeks ago, I was in State Affairs, Senate Bill 85, and the funding was stripped out because we can't afford it. My comment was, do we wait for a child to die before we do something? Members, that happened yesterday in Garfield. How much longer do we wait? If this is not a priority, what is? Thank you.
Senator Kirkmeyer.
Thank you, Madam President. After speaking with both the majority leader and the minority leader, I asked to be excused for Monday, March 7th and Tuesday, March 8th.
Senator Kirkmeyer will be excused March 7th and 8th. Further announcements. Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the Senate stand in recess until 11 a.m. today. Colleagues, you do not need to return. We're just waiting on a resolution to read across the desk.
You have heard the motion. Seeing no opposition, the Senate will stand in recess until 1100.